Good evening, friends. Welcome to IS Setu. You know that last year also we provided certain questions, certain topics with respect to economy, and those who are writing mains, for them I brought previous year question and what are the points to be added in the topic and what are the current issues in the topic and how you can integrate or connect those points like sustainable development goals and some of the reports, because most of the students they are writing in economy and they are writing in generic way. So one of our students this year scored 102 marks in economy, and whenever you are writing any topic, try to add multiple points, diversifying points. That's why here IS Setu institution providing the previous year discussion as well as the current topics which are to be expected topics in the exam point of view. I think you have seen last year I have discussed with the students like food processing industry and public private partnership and inclusive GDP growth and all and capital budget and all. So some of the expected question in the before exam I was discussing, so that you will be able to attempt those questions and what are the current points should be added, because most of the students what they are doing, they are having static content and the same thing they are producing in the exam. See, exam economy paper, economy, try to add static plus current, what approach you should follow and how much content you can produce, and students are writing whatever they know the things and the same content producing here. So it is not like that. The demand, first demand of the question you must understand. If you understand the demand of the question, what they are really demanding, then you can go. Otherwise, if you are writing also, you will not be able to score. Last year, I think you have seen so many students are scoring 60, 70 like that only, right? So one of our students scored 102 marks because the way we are providing things in information in the economy. So those who are attending mains, if you are having doubts with respect to economy, please come to IS Setu. I am ready to help you here, right? What is the content? So try to understand what kind of content I am providing, and before that, before explaining topic, I will be showing previous year questions so that you will be able to know what kind of questions are coming. And this topic here, land reforms topic, this topic is very, very important for the GS paper 3 and in essay also. So I will be showing, then we'll be discussing each and everything. I hope this topic will help you, right? So हम क्या करेंगे, first एक question देखेंगे, बाद में we will be one by one we will be discussing, right? So first question is, how did land reforms in some parts of the country? Demand of the question you must understand. How did land reform in some parts of the country? He is not asking the question, some parts of the country is major, the core point here. Some parts of the country help to improve the socio-economic, social and economic point of view you have to present. Socio-economic conditions of marginal and small farmers. See, he is not asking entire the country, pan India, some parts of the country, socio-economic point of view and small and marginal farmers. Try to understand, right? If you are understanding this question, the demand of the question, you will be able to answer this one. And second question you can see, discuss the role of land reforms. Discuss. So whatever you are having information with respect to role of land reforms in agricultural development, right? Agricultural development, the role of land reforms, and identify the factors that were responsible for the success of land reforms in India. So whatever factors you are discussing, how they are helping, how they helped the land reforms, the success of the land reforms, and you can mention in the discussion part, right? So first topic and second topic both are interlinked. Then you can see third question. In the view of the declining, so see, declining average size of land holdings in India, which has made agriculture non-viable for a majority of farmers, should contract farming. Last time, the government of India brought contract farming. There was a huge protest, right? In that context, even before Modi government brought, even during Congress period also contract farming was there. That was prevalent in 21 states. We will be discussing that part. And land leasing be promoted in agriculture. So tell me, those who are watching online, students, which committee brought the land leasing act in the country? कोई ऑनलाइन देख रहे हो तो आप बता सकते हो. You can free to give your opinion so that I can add your points in this place. So whether you are having with respect to question or model, so that we will be learning the things. And critically evaluate the pros and cons. So क्या बोल रहा है क्वेश्चन में? The declining of the land holding. Earlier we are having over 2 hectares of land per person, but now 1.05 hectare per person we are having. Means the land is decreasing, reducing because of increasing population. So you must understand, and what are the pros and cons you have to explain. Then fourth question you can see here, establish relationship between the land reforms, agricultural productivity, and elimination of poverty in the Indian economy. See how much the topic, how they are asking. Agricultural productivity comes in the geography part. The geography part is related with the land reforms. Land reform also in the geography. Agricultural productivity also geography. And they are interlinking geography plus economy. If you are thorough with the geography, you can write here agricultural productivity and add land reform. That's it. Then discuss the difficulties in designing and implementation of agricultural friendly land reforms in India. Right? What are the agricultural land reforms in India? We get to know the things, all these. Online student. So Moksha, good evening sir. Veronica Nayak, T hug, yes. So online students, आप बता सकते हो. Then next question. The right to fair compensation and transparency in land acquisition, rehabilitation and resettlement Act 2013. So the act brought by the Congress government during that period. Question आया था, देखो 2014 में एक question आया था. Has come into effect from 1st January 2014. What are the key issues? So what are the key issues in that act? They are not asking entire the things. What are the key issues in that act, 2013 act, and which would get addressed with the act in place, and what implications would it have on industrialization and agriculture in India? See, from this topic almost over 10 times in the exam from the land reforms. This topic is very, very critical for your exam, because every year और एक ईयर छोड़ के और दूसरे ईयर को कंपलसरी ये क्वेश्चन आ रहा है. इसीलिए ये टॉपिक आई विल बी एक्सप्लेनिंग, जस्ट यू ऑब्जर्व द थिंग्स. आई एम गोइंग टू गिव वेरी क्वालिटी इनपुट so that you can understand what kind of content should be present in the paper, right? I will be dealing comprehensively, then you can also add whatever points here, right? चलो हम स्टार्ट करेंगे. Land reforms. So just tell me why land reform should be required in the country, and land reforms, it is present modern era or medieval era or ancient era, and what are the conditions, what are the reforms during Mughal period and during British period, and after independence also. I hope you are understanding. The topic should be connected from the medieval and ancient also. If you carefully observe land reforms in India during Mughal period, especially Akbar regime, Akbar regime. So Akbar regime, there is a minister, his name Todar Mal, right? He implemented land revenue system. Land revenue system, right? So when he implemented land revenue system, he classified the land revenue, the land in 4 parts, right? 4. One is Polaj, Parot, and Chachar and Banjar. So first Polaj and Parot, they are very fertile soil, and they are throughout the year they are cultivating Polaj and Parot, right? When it comes to Chachar and Banjar, they are, for example, they are not having wasteland taraha, and where rarely they are cultivable are wasteland taraha. So he imposed tax on the land, 1/6 of the land as a tax from the agriculture. So when he imposed tax based on the land revenue system, first he classified the land based on the productivity, measurement, and what is the capacity of the farmers, what is the irrigation facilities available in particular in that region, and he classified the Todar Mal. Then it was so successful Akbar period, and after that it in between also there are intermediaries also present, but he mentioned that land to the tiller. He gave more freedom to the tiller, and the farmer directly paid to the government rather than the intermediaries. And the same legacy was reached to British, but British adopted intermediate policy. Intermediaries. So you can say they are like jamindars, or you can say landlords. So British government, they majorly focused on the maximization of land revenue. Maximization of land revenue. Just they want to exploit India's resource, especially capital. When they are exploiting the resource, maximization of land revenue, they neglected Indian farmers and India in agrarian distress. So they are facing number of problems, irrigation problems, indebted problems, and financial crisis, right? And suicidal problems, and Britishers were forcing them like what kind of crops, commercial crops, and they were not focusing much on the land reforms, just their business to exploit the Indian farmers. So they for that purpose they adopted jamindar system and landlordism, absentee landlord you can call them. So there is a huge inequality during British period. Even farmers protested against this agrarian distress, and they supported Indian national movement. Then Congress leaders promised that, so in future whenever the government comes up, we are ready to bring land reforms in the country, and surplus land should be distributed among the farmers. those who are really not having. And some of the jamindars, they did not like this kind of statement. Jamindars were against the Congress, because if you want to distribute the land, surplus land, mean the land present in the jamindar hands, if you are distributing that land, so obviously their monopoly over, their means jamindar monopoly over the land come down. That's why they were not supporting the Indian National Congress or peasant movement, rather they are supporting to the British government. Then the farmers attacked on the jamindar or landlords. Then jamindars fled to the urban area. In urban areas they were settled. And to collect the land revenue, the landlords or jamindars coming every time to the rural area, they are collecting and going. Whenever they come here, there is a huge protest. And Jawaharlal Nehru, Gandhi, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Acharya Kripalani, other leaders, there is also agrarian summit also present in the country. They promised we will fulfill the farmers' demand. Right? So, after independence आने के बाद, the first duty of the government of India to bring land reforms in the country. For that purpose, the government of India constituted one committee. बता सकते हो क्या ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट, दोज हु आर वाचिंग? Abhishek Kumar Singh, where is Naman sir? So, Government of India constituted one committee. So, the committee name is J.C. Kumarappa. J.C. Kumarappa committee. This committee looked into the matters of the land reforms. Very, very important. For example, you are writing land reforms, you must write this J.C. Kumarappa committee. Try to understand please. समझ होगा ना? So J.C. Kumarappa आप compulsory लिखना पड़ेगा, because land reforms the first committee, this is only, right? So J.C. Kumarappa, so he mentioned, and in land reforms they brought certain points, 5 points majorly. One is abolition of intermediaries. First point. And second, regulation of tenant. And third point, consolidation of land holding. Consolidation of land holding. Consolidation of land holding. Third point. And fourth point, land to the tiller. And fifth point, here consolidation of land holding, right? So you can say here, rather consolidation of land holding. So it is a restrictive tarah. And here consolidation of land holding, again one more point double aa jayega, land holding into viable, right? Land holding, here restricting on the land holding, seal, you can say rather sealing of land holding, here consolidation of land holding into viable holding, right? And then here you can say cooperative, last point, cooperative joint farming. Cooperative joint farming, right? Online students, किसी को doubt है क्या? I don't think so. You are having problem here. So one by one we will be discussing here. So Indira Gandhi government brought number of reforms for the land reforms के लिए, but zamindars in initial stage protested. You can write down here 1947 to 1990. It is called first generational land reforms. First generational land reforms. Right? First generational land reforms. So, if you carefully observe 1947 to 1990, they made it some of the points. These points must be written in the exam. Abolition of intermediaries. Abolition of intermediaries. Why abolition of intermediaries? Because the zamindari middleman always exploiting the farmer. And his major duty is to exploit the farmer. And he will be settled. He is settled in the urban area. His main duty is to collect revenue, land revenue. He doesn't focus on the what really farmer is facing, whether drought or flood or irrigation or any other things. Just his major duty is to collect land revenue. So even you get the amount from the farmer को प्रोडक्शन आया नहीं आया इनको मतलब ही नहीं है. So first major duty of the government of India to address this problem. Sir, when they brought this abolition of intermediaries, what about the zamindars? Zamindars gathered and protested, and they mobilized some of the people against the government also. It is also one of the setback of the country. And these people are having to manipulate the media and other things because you are having huge money, right? So influential group tara, pressure group tara, right? And regulation of tenant. What is the need to regulate the tenant? Because here मान लो इधर एक फील्ड है, ये फील्ड sometime here ups and down. If you are not regulating this tenant wherever the ups and down land, there is no guarantee for the term of the tenant, then who will be leveling this field? How productive will be come up? And who will take care of? Because landlords never do, they never does this kind of work, right? So obviously farmer has to do, but he is not having the land security or tenure security. So for that purpose, Government of India brought regulation of tenant, and they made it one more provision also, ceiling of land holding. Sir, what is the need to make ceiling on land holding? Because landlords or zamindars, they are having over 500, 600, 1000, 10,000 acres of the land. When you are having this huge land, especially in this area, the farmers are not having, and these landlords are having the water facility more, and other area people are not having. And Government of India made 20 acres per family, 40 acres per family. They made the limit. Beyond that you should not have. If you are having, government will be taking your land. So whenever you are having 50, मान लो 40 acres of land, so it is limiting your capacity. That should be required, because in India most of the people, still large number of the farmers are not having the land for cultivation purpose, right? So they limited and surplus land distributed to the farmers. Sorry, the entire people distributed this land? No, some people are not having land. It is not reached ground level also, because corruption also played vital role here, stealing. So I will be discussing, first I will be discussing these points. And land to the tiller. Why land to the tiller is very, very important here. So whenever you are having if you are not having security, those who are really cultivating in the land, they are given permanent patta papers, you are the real farmer of that soil. So that what happened, he invested more money in that field and produced more, and finally food security of the country. Because green revolution, you heard that in green revolution what happened? Security, provided number of inputs, irrigation, pesticides, fertilizers, tractor, machinery, capital, water, everything is provided because there is a security present. Then what happened? We produced more food grains, right? You must understand this point. Then consolidation of land holding. Why we have to consolidate this land? If you are consolidating land, so what happened, right? You can pool the land from the different farmers, and we can make the irrigation facilities to reach each and every farmer, so that the production will be enhanced. That's why most of the points, some of the points succeeded by the government, either state or central, but some of the points not successful because other reasons are there. I will be explaining. Then cooperative joint farming. Generally, farmer loves his soil, his place, and someone is having quality land, and for him to no need to come for the joint farming, he will be cultivating anyway his land. And what is the need? The need is required because in joint farming, cooperative farming, if people come together, they can exchange their resource and produce more food grains. For them is essential, right? So these some of the loopholes we will be understanding, because pros and cons also in exam came. So first point, abolition of intermediaries and regulation of tenant and ceiling of land holding, land to the tiller, consolidation of land holding into viable and cooperative joint farming. So you must remember these points. I hope you are understanding. Those who are watching online students, किसी को doubt नहीं है ना? Let's see. Now, once the government of brought in 1947 this first generational land reforms, then they made it some of the points. Sir, you are saying these kind of, and what are the problems in the land reforms? Problems in land reforms. कोई बता सकते हो क्या? One is lack of digitalization or computerization of land records. And second point, you can say corruption. And third point, you can say red tape. Red tapeism also you can say, right? And delay in justice, especially litigation. I hope you are understanding here. And the farmers are not having awareness, lack of awareness, you can say here, right? And lack of cooperation between the central government and the state government. Central government and the state government. So here, corruption also one of the matter, lack of digitalization and computerization of records. Recently what happened in Telangana में एक हुआ था. Telangana brought Dharani portal. This Dharani portal related with the land records. So earlier those farmers who are practicing agriculture, those who are having land, by displacing landlords or zamindars, they went and settled in the urban area, and farmers are practicing. Now what happens? Because of Dharani portal, because the farmers are not having land records, they are not having patta or certificate, still the landlords are having. But if landlords are having 1000 acres, 1500 acres, single person, do you support it? When the Dharani portal came, for the land record purpose, the farmers are not having any patta. And the Jamindars came and again they grabbed their land. There is a dispute between the farmer and Jamindar again. And if you go the court or police station or whatever Tehsildar officer, and they are asking that you are not having patta, so it is not your land, so Jamindar land. Again it is started that problem in the rural area. So it is also one of the reason, whenever you are bringing the digitalization or computerization of land records, so you have to take the opinion and consultation with the farmer. So that one. And corruption. For example, you are going to the Tehsildar office or any office to digitalization or recording purpose. These people are more demanding money, and the farmer is not able to pay because he is not having that much huge amount for the recording purpose, right? And red tapeism, especially bureaucracy. When you are approaching the officer, what happened? He is not interested because he is influenced by the Jamindar. We are not saying all the people, but some of the people, those who are interested in these kind of things, right? Then delaying justice. For example, there is a conflict between the landlord or Jamindar and tenant, and they will approach to the court. The court will be taking time because in India, you know that in India over 3.5 crore cases are pending in the courts. So here, when you are approaching the court, it takes a lot of time. By that time, you should not practice agriculture. So it is burden on the, again, farmer. I hope you are understanding, right? So what is the significance of the land reforms? Significance of land reforms, right? Significance. So it is creating equal opportunities, or you can say inclusivity. Inclusivity. Can we say that? Because people are having land, obviously it makes holistic social justice, and it is also, you can say, social justice. In social justice, which is mentioned in the preamble also, preamble and DPSP, how I am integrating point, just you observe it. And significance, you can also, it create employment opportunities. Employment opportunities, and it enhances, or you can say doubling farmer income. Doubling farmer income. Tell me which committee recommend doubling of farmer income by 2022? Anyone? Ashok Dalwai committee. Ashok Dalwai committee recommended doubling of farmer income by 2022. You must remember this point. And it also boosting significance of the land reforms. Here you can agri exports, and GDP growth. You can also mention this point, GDP growth. And if you take the composition of the agriculture in India, composition of the economy, in the beginning 1947 and present, right? Present land reforms and how composition of the economy. Earlier agriculture 80% of the GDP. 80% of the GDP agriculture, right? And so manufacturing sector remaining 15 and remaining service sector 5%, like that. So GDP is more contributed by the agriculture sector, and over not 60% of the GDP. 60% of the GDP and service sector is 20, remaining manufacturing, remaining service sector. ठीक है, अच्छा सा फिर लिखता हूं, राइट. So 60% agriculture in GDP, right? Then 20% service. So not exactly ups and down, and remaining 20% manufacturing. Yeah? Now, if you take the 60%, or you can say that over 50% GDP by the service sector, and remaining 25% manufacturing sector, and remaining agriculture sector 20% to the GDP. I hope you are understanding this one. So 1947, what happened? So 80% of the people depending on the agriculture, they are contributed to the GDP from the agriculture, 60% to the GDP, remaining 20% of manufacturing and service sector. But when it comes to present, the service sector is more contributing. Over 50% of the GDP comes from the service sector, and manufacturing sector 25%, 20% agriculture plus allied sector 17%, more or less 20% there. So agriculture sector. So in this on agriculture sector, 60% of the population still depending on the agriculture, just they are contributing 20% of the GDP. But when it comes to in the beginning 1947, 80% of the people depending on the agriculture. I hope you are understanding here. Poor redressal mechanism, sir, you are right. Poor redressal mechanism also part of the problem of the land reforms. And one more point. So in India, 145 million 145 million land mean almost 45% of the land in the country contributing to GDP only 20%. Right? 45% of the land contributing to the GDP, how much? Just 20%. But 1% of land in the country, which is manufacturing and service sector, contributing to 80% of the GDP. Very, very important this point. I hope you are writing this, you are understanding this one. Right? So 145 million hectares of land, that is 45% of the land of the country, contributing 20% of the GDP in the country. But when it comes to 1% of land in the country, only 1% of land contributing 80% of the GDP of the country. See what is the difference, how much difference. So there is a need to shift from the primary sector to manufacturing sector to service sector. Otherwise country will not be developed, because more people are trapped in the agriculture sector. Nowadays feminization of agriculture. So here what I am saying, there is a need to shift, otherwise the agricultural sector cannot be sustained, because more people, you can say disguised unemployment prevailing in the agriculture sector. What is disguised unemployment? See, 1 acre is required, 5 people, you are taking 10 people. Actually 5 people can produce this, 5 people can produce 10 quintas. Even you are adding 10 people also produce same 10 quintas, there is no change. You are adding the people just to provide employment opportunities for them. That's why it is called disguised unemployment. Try to understand what I am conveying here. I hope you are understanding. So this is very, very core point you have to write. And what are the steps taken by the government? THAC. This committee constituted by the government of India, sorry, not government, Niti Ayog. Niti Ayog constituted THAC committee for the land lease purpose. Land lease. Because what is the need to land lease? Earlier we are having restrictive land leasing policy. Because of restrictive land leasing policy, the landlords or those who are having the land, they are not giving land to the farmer to produce or agricultural practice, just they are withholding because of restrictive land lease. And THAC committee constituted by the Niti Ayog, they mention land lease policy. And if you take the recent steps, you can see that Swamitva, right? Swamitva. So here, digitalization of land records, and computerization of land records. And second, you can say Swamitva. In exam, you can add these points, right? And government, these some of the steps they have taken. And sir, we are saying so many points for the land reforms. So they are really negatively impacting on the environment? Yes, you are 100% correct. They are negatively impacting on the environment. How? You are practicing more agriculture practice, soil erosion, you have to cut the forest, so that leads to desertification, right? Degradation of the soil, desertification, and number of the problems. So we'll be learning that the problem associated with the land reforms, you can say that soil erosion, right? Degradation of the land, and desertification, है ना? Desertification is increasing. And we are part of the which organization? UNCCD. You know that? UNCCD. What is United CCD? United Nations Convention on Combat of Desertification. And if you take the India, we have to reclaim 26 million hectares of land. 26 million hectares by 2030. And here soil erosion, degradation and desertification is increasing, especially in Rajasthan. It is expanding. So we are part of the UNCCD, and 26 million hectares of the land should be reclaimed by 2030. And we are part of it. Is a legally binding program, right? Legally binding program here. You can additionally you write, and you can also say that Paris climate, that is we are also part of that. I hope you are understanding. And when you are adding these kind of points, and what are the steps taken by the government for these kind of problems? Green India mission, and second point, National Afforestation Program, and third you can write compensation afforestation management program wala, and you can also say Nagar Van Yojana, program. Anything else here you can write? I hope you are understanding. So government of India strictly encouraging with the central government and the state government, both the governments, they are cooperation. In India, in recent year reports, the forest is increasing. I hope you are understanding here, right? So here, if you take these programs and all for the land reforms, okay, but apart from the land reforms, we are having side negative effects, impact on the environment also. You have to address those problems also. Otherwise, very difficult to sustain. And how to integrate these land reforms with the SDG goals, sustainable development goals. You can write here SDG goal SDG goal, I will mention a separate slide. SDG goal 1, poverty. So if land is not available to the farmer, poverty increases. And SDG goal 2, hunger. Right? I hope you are understanding. SDG goal 8. 8 is what? Inclusivity, inclusive. And SDG goal 10, what? To reduce inequality in any form. Inequality. SDG goal 13, climate change. And SDG goal 15, here SDG goal 15 is deforestation. Deforestation, land degradation को reduce करना. And you can say that SDG goal 16, what is 16? Equitable justice. To access justice, you can add these points. So land reforms is having so many SDG goals, right? If you are adding these points in the topic, then your answer will be perfect. So after 1990, we are having second generational land reforms. Earlier, Government of India more focus on the land distribution. Now major focus is the modernization of land. Modernization of land. This is very, very important. Right? I hope you are understanding this one. And what are the provisions? Provisions in the Constitution which are dealings with the provisions in the Constitution which deals with this land reforms. Right? So first one is preamble. Preamble, we are having social justice. So here social and economic justice, both are called distributive justice. So you can add here land reforms. And second, fundamental rights. In fundamental rights, article 31A, 31B, 31C deals with the fundamental rights. And third point, in directive principles of state policy, right? Directive principle of state policy 39B and 39C. C deals with the concentration of the wealth because we have to distribute. B also like that. So preamble, fundamental rights, DPSP. Tell me those who are watching online, land is a state subject. Land is a state subject. Try to address this point. Land counts as subject ma? State subject. I hope you are understanding this one. And acquisition of land. Acquisition of land is a concurrent subject. Is a concurrent subject. Land is a state subject. Acquisition of land is concurrent subject. So whenever you are acquiring the land for the industry or agriculture or project or anything, that come under the concurrent. So tell me, if there is a conflict between the center and the state over the acquisition of the land, which laws prevails, central or state? So obviously central government will be prevailing over the state, because in concurrent matter constitution specifically mentioned that. So for that purpose, Land Acquisition Act also present in the 2013 fair compensation. You can also bad and exam में आया था. Right? I hope you are understanding. Online students, किसी को doubt नहीं है ना? So poor redressal, okay, fine. So some of the points you can add here. Constitutional provision also you mentioned it. Preamble, social, economic, distributive, that is the distributive justice. Then fundamental rights, Article 31A, 31B, 31C, and third point DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy, 39B and 39C. I hope you are understanding this point. And you know Article 300A. Now it is a legal right. Legal right. So in the beginning, what happened? The right to property was in the constitution. Right to property in the fundamental right, but it was deleted or removed by 44th Amendment Act of 1978. What I am saying? Earlier right to property was in the fundamental right, that was removed by what? 44th Amendment Act of 1978, and it made in and it placed it in under Article 300A. 300A as a legal right. Sir, what is legal right here? Legal right means that can be changed through the ordinary law. Constitutional amendment means special majority. But legal right means you can change through the normal amendment. You must understand this point. ये भी prelims में आया था आपको. So try to add diversification of the points. So right now government major focus is to modernization of the land. We are major to focus on the modernization of the land. Try to remember. First generational land reforms 1947 to 1990 and second generational reforms 1992 till now. A second generational. And what are the schemes brought by the government? Swamvitva, digitalization of land records, computerization of land records, and Land Leasing Act, THAC committee, doubling of farmer income by 2022. I hope you are understanding these things. If you are having any doubts and queries with respect to here, you can ask me here. So, and how they are contributing to the people. One is, I told you that employment opportunity, export of agriculture productivity, doubling of farmer income, right? Social equality, equate justice, and different points you can write here, right? I hope you are understanding. And what is the steps to be taken to land reforms to reach out ground level, especially the cooperative farming? You can write here, first point here, Kudumbasri. Kudumbasri, the Kudumbasri model in Kerala. We can also adopt in way forward also you can write for the cooperative farming. And other one you can say here, Amul. So these are cooperative farming, they are successful, but when it comes to agriculture, they are not being successful. Why? We have to think over this matter. Because somewhere we have to create awareness among the farmers to come together for the cooperative farming. I hope you are having proper information. Kudumbasri likh do, Amul also likh do for the cooperative successful model. When it is Amul, to aapko milk mein pata hai na? Gujarat, you know this one very successful model, right? But when it comes to cooperative farming in agriculture, success nahi ho raha hai. So we have to, we can adopt these 2 points. Way forward mein aap likh sakte ho. So to increase export or doubling of the farmers, as different committees recommended, we have to make, still there is a land reforms going on, yet to achieve successful land reforms. For that purpose, as the central and the state government or NGOs and farmer awareness, we have to bring the land reforms in the country to reach out the farmer to become to prepare prosperous or developed country in the world. India has to take some of the steps. I hope you are having information, Prapti. Deepthi, any doubts, ma? Sir, we can write Kudumbasri. Yes, you are right, ma. Deepthi, we can add this one point also. So, किसी को doubt नहीं है ना? These are the some of the point you can add. I hope you are understanding these things. So here you added government steps, SDG goal, UNCCD report, Kumarappa committee report, and HAC committee report, Niti Ayog, digitalization of land records, computerization of land records, Swamvitva. So number of points you added in this program, right? So what other programs I will be bring, other topics, and further classes I will be discussing other topics. anyone is having with respect to this topic, you can ask me here. I hope you understood my here. किसी को तो डाउट नहीं है ना? Online students, those who are watching, so I hope this topic will be helping those who are preparing for the mains 2023 वाला, right? And those who are preparing for the 2024 को लिए ये टॉपिक बहुत अच्छा हेल्प करेगा. So as platform IAS Setu, we are providing the economic topics for the students, those who are writing and those who are preparing 2024 also. If you are having any doubt, you can come to the IAS Setu Academy. We are ready to help you in your preparation, right? I hope this topic will be immensely help, आपको help करेगा. And किसी भी query से regarding economy and all, please come up here and आपको doubts address करने हम we are ready, है ना? So I will wind up this topic. Then we in tomorrow class I will be come up with the previous year certain questions, right? And what kind of approach should be required, what kind of content should be present. So वो structure आपको पूरा बताऊंगा. I hope you are understanding. Thank you so much. Bye.